everybody. Really good day out there, back and forth between both sides of the ball. Able to get a lot of real football drive for the offense, be able to play with tempo and see how the communication and efficiency of movement between plays. Really good for our young guys, and defensively we're able to get some of that work against tempo, but also some situational football. Got some third and short and actually did some overtime work with those guys again today. But overall, pleased with the effort, strain, competitive nature of it, and some back and forth between both sides of the ball.
We'll start with Vince up front.
You mentioned the back and forth, both sides of the ball. What about in terms of turnovers, protecting the ball, drawing those turnovers, and can you give any examples of how you guys did there?
Yeah, Jeremy Banks had a big pick out in the flat. Did a really good job, reading his keys and then getting out there extremely quickly. Great with his eyes. Made a really nice play. Used his hands well on the play as well. Really, I think that was about it for turnovers during the course of the scrimmage. I might be off one, not remembering it right now, but I thought there was some good situational red zone work by our defense where they were able to get off the field and force some field goals. And so, good day.
Adam.
You've got a few options there at running back behind Jabari. First off, what did you think of Jabari today, and who's showing up behind him?
Yeah, Jabari did a really good job today. Ran extremely well. I thought his keys took him to the right cut. He played with great in and out and pad level on contact. He probably got close to 25, 30 reps today. And our young guys got a lot of work. Dylan and Justin was, without going back and watching the tape, really pleased with how they functioned and played. And those two guys just in training camp, obviously it's Dylan's first time working with us in live situations. He's grabbed on to playing and competing at this level, understanding how to function and operate within our offensive system. Does a great job of delivering blocks and is a willing blocker too. So really pleased with the progress he made. And Justin's come back a much different football player than he was as he finished spring ball. He made, I think you guys have heard me through the summer and even after the spring game, just talk about there's a lot of time before we get to training camp. He's taken advantage of that time and done a better job in pass pro, but done a better job with his pad level on contact, done a better job with reading his keys and making the right cuts.
Rob, then Austin.
Coach, obviously Cedric is pretty established at one wideout spot. Did you have anybody else step up there today and kind of flash?
Yeah, today, without going back and watching all the tape, Jimmy Callaway, Jalen Hyatt, both did some really good things in the slot. I'm pleased, overall with what they did today, but the 8 days that we've gotten in, where they've continued to progress to. So excited about what they've done.
What's the latest on Jalen Wright? I know he's been slowed. And would you love to try to get him back by Sunday's second scrimmage? And how do you balance the urgency for him to want to get back with some of those younger guys coming along and Jabari doing things, and so he's not falling behind versus coming back too soon?
Yeah, for him, I don't think it's falling behind. I thought his spring he was a much better football player than he was last fall. He's had a really good summer and, hadn't been able to get a ton of work here in the early part of training camp. He's mentally engaged, doing a great job of coaching guys when he's in the back. I think he's continued to grow as a player. Obviously, we want to get him some physical work before we get to week one for sure. At the same time, I think it's a balance of making sure that he's healthy for as long as possible here when we get to the stretch of the season.
Coach, sticking at running backs, this is the first time I think we've talked to you since Lynn J. Dixon joined the team. Just what's this past week or so, and I guess it's not even been a week for him, been as he tries to catch on, and what did you see from him today?
Yeah, with Laneith being out for the season because of the injury, felt like it was important that we continued to try to look for and add another body in that room if there was one available that fit what we're going to need. And since he's gotten in, right, he's in a race to understand and learn what we're doing as fast as he possibly can. He's been able to flash in some of our situational stuff that we've done. For him to go out and operate and function in everything that we're doing right now, he's probably not at that point. But I've been really pleased with the effort that he's put into it. he's competed in a really good way out there on the practice field and in the stadium, and looking forward to his progression here on the back half of training camp here as we push towards game week.
Coach, what are your expectations for newcomers in a first scrimmage? And how much, I don't want to say judgment, but how much do you walk out here going, okay, that guy maybe it would help us, or he's a developmental player? Do you pass judgment on one scrimmage like that? And what's your expectations for newcomers today?
They're in a progression to get to where they need to by opening weekend, by week 3, by week 5. It's a constant progression for those guys. My expectations for the young guys today is go out and compete extremely hard, right? Play as hard as you possibly can every single snap. It ain't going to be perfect. You're going to learn. They've learned for 7 days out on the practice field. This is as real as it's going to be as far as game day operation and how to compete and function in that arena. They're not going to be perfect. Continue to progress. Don't make the same mistake twice. Now you're putting yourself in a position to grow and be ready to compete when we get to the season. This will be a huge day, huge opportunity. This afternoon it's a big afternoon for us as a program, but it's a big afternoon for those young guys too. It's an opportunity to sit back and look and learn, just what a game situation looks like and how to function and operate in it.
So what was your takeaway from them? Did they do that today?
And there's a bunch of young guys, right? So, it's going to be different for every single one of them. You're going to find out a lot more as you watch on the tape. The young guys inside of our program have been really pleased with their effort, their attention to detail, their want to, their ability to learn, their ability to be coached. And so I love the culture of those young guys. We've got to keep accelerating a bunch of them in all 3 phases of the game.
Vince and Adam.
I realize this is a position where you have to go back and watch the tape and really study it, but that left tackle competition, anything stood out today or even in the other practices since we talked to you last?
Yeah, without going back and watch it, I would hate to comment on today. Overall, both of them are highly competitive. They've progressed from where they were in spring ball. They still got room to grow, and they've handled it the right way, the competition between those guys. We will need them all. We will need those two, but we'll need them all up front. That's just the nature of the beast here in this league, so you're not just competing against somebody else, although you are, right? The competition's within yourself, and I'm pleased with what they've done here in the first week of training camp.
I know we've asked for updates on this, but any update on Brew McCoy's eligibility? And is Lynn J eligible immediately? Do we know that for sure?
Lynn J will be eligible, what was your original question? I'm sorry.
Brew McCoy,
His eligibility? Don't have an update on that. Do not.
Mike, then Rob.
Yeah. Also on Lynn J, was there a relationship already between someone in the staff and him that led to him being involved? And you said as long as someone who fit what you were looking for, why did he fit what you were looking for so well?
Yeah, for us as a staff, not really. As far as a previous relationship, obviously he had a lot of familiarity with Tennessee. If you look back just at his recruitment, he has some experience playing at this level. His skill set, athletic ability, change of direction, explosive long speed, all of those things are things that we need inside of that room, right? And so for those reasons, felt like he was the right fit to bring in.
Coach, I think we kind of maybe take Hendon for granted after last
Don't
year,
do
but
that.
how was he today? What did you think about the quarterback
Really
play?
good, really efficient, effective. Handled the operation side of it extremely well. He's been in really good command of what we're doing offensively, keeping us out of bad plays, bad situations. Turning negatives into zero. Been decisive, getting the ball out of his hands. Complete command of what we're doing on the offensive side of the ball. Run game and pass game, protections as well. Really pleased with his progress, through spring ball, but even after spring ball to where he is now. Did some really great things out there today. Yesterday had a great day too, and love where he's at. Keep fighting and be ready for week 1. Go be your best.
Rick in the back,
Thanks. Coach G yesterday was talking about guys like Omari and Tyler and Byron stepping up, take that leadership role. What did you see from them on the line today in that first scrimmage?
Yeah, some guys that have grown, you know. Amari, somebody that has leadership traits and is grown as a player, grown in his leadership ability to control an entire group. Tyler Barron has taken a huge strides in those same areas, and you know, just his accountability every single day and toughness and strain. You know, his best football is still ahead of him, and really proud of the strides that he's made. That defensive line group will be deeper than we were a year ago, which is important to us as a program. We got some young guys in that room that we feel like are going to have to help us. They got to go earn it here, you know, on the back half of training camp and before we get to week 1. It's important that those leaders inside of that room, the guys that you were mentioning, do a great job of pushing and coaching those guys. They do, like, this football team's so different than a year ago where, you know, players are helping and coaching each other. And that's in the defensive line group, you see that, but that's at every position too.
As a follow-up to that defensive line group, did you feel like you have a better pass rush out of that group based off today? I know you haven't seen the film. And secondly, on the offensive line, did you feel like you were better in short yardage situations today? Did you do much of that?
Yeah, we did do some situational football with everybody on both sides of football, offense and defense. There was some emphasis that we put, you know, for offensively what they were looking for on some defensive look structure, whatever it might be, and vice versa. We were able to get some of that. I thought offensively they picked up those short yardage situations we're more efficient in what we're doing. Obviously, that's going to be critical to us offensively. A year ago, some of the struggles that we had in some of the games where we didn't play our best, the short yardage situations were a huge part of that, and not being able to get that next first down and get to the next set of downs. Defensively, I thought, you know, red zone defense has been an emphasis for us. I thought that's something that today, you know, they did a better job in. It's a point of emphasis as we've gone through training camp. It will continue to be on the back half of camp as well.
Specifically on pass rush out of your front four, did you see more action?
Yeah, I do think that, you know, we're further and deeper than we were a year ago. We're not where we need to be and where I want to be. The veterans inside of our program have continued to get better. Byron Young, Tyler Barron, those guys have made significant increases from where they were when we stepped off the football field in the bowl game. We have some young guys inside of our program that I feel like, you know, if they keep growing and competing, you know, have a chance to help us as we get into the season, and we need those guys to come on.
Last 2 questions, Eric and Ryan.
You mentioned the slot and feeling good about the, you know, what you've seen there here lately, but what about the outside receiver spot opposite Cedric Tillman? How are some of those guys coming along here in camp?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, Ramel's done some positive things. Walker Merrill's been out there and has made some plays, operated really efficiently. Brew's done some really good things in some of our practices. You know, that's a point of competition here still on the back half of training camp, and we got to have multiple guys step up, and certainly would like at least one of them to step up and grab a hold of that position.
Josh, was Kamal Haddon able to get any work today? And just what did you see out of those cornerbacks overall so far?
Yeah, Kamal did not get work today. You know, we're deeper in the secondary too. You guys have seen that out at practice, just in pure number of bodies that we have compared to a year ago, but athletic movement, traits, skill set, all of that. That group's been purposeful. They're extremely, they compete with each other in an extremely positive way. You know, there's pieces that can move, you know, guys that are, you know, playing our nickel that can move back and vice versa. We have some versatility there. We'll play more guys than we did a year ago. I think that will help us be better in the long run. But great competition here on the back half. I'm looking forward to watching a little bit of that here as I get upstairs this afternoon and watching how they functioned in the scrimmage.